Today marks a milestone for our podcast. It is officially the 10th episode that we have published, and we are so excited and grateful for the response that we've received from all of you. And because of this response, we have decided to increase our publishing frequency to weekly. So look out every Friday for a new Mama Mudra podcast episode. We've got some amazing guests coming up. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on anything that's ahead. Welcome to the Mama Mudra podcast. I'm Thompson-Duwe, and I believe that the wellness industry has a joy problem, so we're aiming to fix it. This podcast is where we bring in experts to challenge beliefs and tools to feel good, stay consistent, and actually build a life that works. Because in this community, joy is the new performance metric. Welcome back to the Mama Mudra podcast. Today's episode is a solo one, and I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. And that is the fact that everywhere we look, we are told how to live well. There are people telling us what to eat, how to train, when to fast, how to recover, which supplements to take, how to optimize everything. And quite frankly, it's really, really confusing. There are morning routines, there are cold plunges, there is contrast therapy, there are strength protocols, meditation practices, biohacking stacks, and all of it is positioned as that one thing that is going to fix all the problems and give you the results that you're looking for. And yet, despite having all of this access to wellness protocols and tools and solutions, it seems that people are feeling worse than ever, and they're more confused than ever, and they are just drowning in an inundation of information. So the question that I keep coming back to is this: if all of these things are supposed to make us feel so much better, why are people feeling worse? For me, this is a very personal journey, and that's because my approach to wellness has changed so much over the years, which I think is a good thing. As one grows and evolves with life, your needs grow and evolve as well. So there have been times in my life that I've been really structured, incredibly disciplined, waking up at 4 a.m. to train, fasting, doing all of those things that to me now at this stage of life feel somewhat punitive. And it worked for me then. But then there have also been phases in my life that I've realized, as I said, like now, that I don't want to be that hard on myself. I don't want to wake up that early. I mean, admittedly, I don't wake up that much later, but I certainly don't wake up half asleep and drag myself straight to the gym. I allow myself a cup of coffee first. I allow myself to wake up, and that's become more of my routine. I've realized that just because something looks good on paper, it doesn't necessarily feel good in my body. And that's been one of the biggest lessons for me as I've grown, is that what works for you at one stage of your life may not work for you at another stage. Our bodies are changing as we grow. We're transforming. Our stress levels are changing. Our circumstances are changing. And our approach to wellness, therefore, also has to change. You don't necessarily, as you grow, need more information. What you really need is more self-understanding. So one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people that I've seen make is trying to copy protocols. It's completely understandable. You see your friend who's doing really well with their routine, they're getting phenomenal results, and you want to emulate what they're doing to get the same results. But even though that may seem logical on the surface, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because something works for someone who's highly energized, extremely good at sticking to routine and very much together, it doesn't necessarily mean that that same structure and system is going to work for us. What we don't see with the person that looks like they've got it all together on paper is what's happening underneath. We don't see their biology. We don't see their mindset. We don't see their stress levels. We don't see their schedule. And this is why no two people can follow the exact same routine and get the same results, because there are so many additional factors that influence the outcomes. Not because one is more disciplined, just because the two are very different. And this is where one of my core beliefs come in that I keep on hammering on about on this podcast, on the website that I'm putting together at the moment, at the Sunshine People events, and in the social media content that I put out. And that is that happiness is not the reward for living well. It's the foundation that makes living well sustainable. It's what keeps bringing you back to the structure and the routine that enables you to live well, because it makes you feel good. When something feels good and when it energizes you, when it fits into your life, you naturally come back to it. But when something feels forced or punishing or completely arduous, it becomes really difficult to sustain. And that's why different approaches work for different people. Some people thrive on discipline and intensity. I'm one of them, usually, but sometimes not. And when I'm not, that needs to also be acknowledged and understood, and I need to work with that, possibly when I'm away with my family. But some people also flourish generally through balance, creativity, and restoration, and both can be completely valid. And then there's something else that I want to tag onto that, and that is non-judgment. Just because someone has a routine that may not necessarily look like yours, it doesn't mean that you should be judging them for that. There is far too much judgment, in my opinion, in the wellness space, and just there's no reason for people to criticize others for what they choose to do just because it doesn't look like what they like to do for themselves. So whether it's peptides or contrast therapy, lifting heavy weights, not lifting weights at all, everyone seems to have an opinion on everything. But the reality is that if something makes you feel good, strong and energized, then that is working for you. And that should be enough. We're all on very different pathways. We're moving towards a similar goal for sure, but we all have our own journey to get there. And the journey and the goal is all about feeling good in our bodies, feeling strong, living long, living well. So instead of questioning or criticizing each other's choices, we should really try to be encouraging and supporting one another. Negative energy in this space and in any space really doesn't serve anyone. If something makes you feel good, strong and well, keep doing it and don't worry about whether or not it looks completely different to everyone else's routine. And that's where I've landed for myself, that a personal pathway is something that really is completely only about your own journey. And there are so many. And it's about understanding yourself well enough to know what works best for you and understand that that's going to change with time. Many people feel like they're failing at wellness. As I said in the beginning, there's an influx of over information. There are too many options. There are too many people that look like they're succeeding that we feel like we want to copy. And that can often make us feel like we're failing. But my suggestion to you today is, what if you consider whether or not that's true? And what if you consider that, as opposed to thinking that you're failing, perhaps you just don't yet have enough self-realization. Perhaps you just don't yet know well enough what it is that makes you happy and that works for you and that is going to keep bringing you back to doing the same thing over and over again. And that's where you're going to get the results. So I think that shift changes absolutely everything. And it's a really good one to make, not just on your journey to wellness, but that's what we're here to talk about today, because it shifts everything. It stops you judging yourself and it moves you into a state of curiosity. And that's where you're going to find the answers that are going to work for you. So my suggestion to everyone watching this is that instead of asking, what should you be doing? Ask the questions, what makes me feel energized? What makes me feel strong? What makes me feel motivated? What makes me feel successful when I do it? And write those things down, explore those things and try and find your pathway to happiness. We do these at our Sunshine People events. We give people opportunities to explore different options within various wellness modalities, whether it's movement or breathwork or music or contrast therapy. And it's when you give yourself the opportunity to try different things that you'll understand which of these works best for you. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from today's episode, it's this, that you don't need to follow someone else's routine. You don't need to prove anything to anyone else, and you definitely don't need to judge someone else for doing what they do if it doesn't look like what you do. Focus on what works for you. Support everyone else in doing exactly the same for themselves. Because when we remove judgment, that's where we create a space for people to actually find what works best for them. And ultimately, as long as we all find our own pathway to happiness and wellness and longevity, that's going to make the world a much better place. If this resonates with you and you'd like to join us on our journey towards finding our own pathways to happiness, please subscribe to the channel, like this episode, and send it to friends that you think could benefit from it. Ultimately, this community is going to grow as more and more like-minded people join us, and the more that we can learn from one another, the better. If this episode shifted something within you, share it with someone that you think needs it. Because the wellness industry does not change from the top down. It changes through conversations like these. So like, subscribe, and stay close. We're not chasing wellness anymore. We're redefining it through joy.